Alrighty guys, welcome back to MTVTA. I'm your guys' host, Trent Manager. All my returning patrons, of course, welcome back guys. For all my new patrons, really glad to have you guys here. Thanks so much for being here today. Definitely have a little bit of different video today guys. We're going to be kind of doing some smart contract development. Kind of just want to give the breakdown of, each line of code as we go, kind of give a slight overview as to the solidity, the anatomy of a smart contract, how it really does what it does. I did a video like this in the past, but that was a little bit more of a LinkedIn video. It was kind of made for kind of bigger players, kind of just trying to see a bigger scale thing. This is really more consolidation, more of a really basic. We won't be we won't be writing more than 30 lines of code today. We'll just be doing a simple contract that's kind of just going to get us get our age and get name. So kind of just if you think about it like a small little database, that we can pull some sensitive data from. That's kind of just the best way I could put it for this small project. Also, we'll have some links in the description, some Solidity, some more Solidity learning tools, and kind of some more anatomy overview, just so it can make a little bit more sense. This will help if you got a little bit of a coding background, a little preferably in JavaScript. Of course, you don't have to have it at all. This is everyone's got to start somewhere. So I know for my visual learners, this is going to be a little bit better for you guys. So really getting in started, we're going to get started writing, and then I'll break down things as things continue to go, kind of the arrays, the functions, why things do what they do in a sense, and we can definitely get started just now. So first thing we want to do before we really get started is kind of define our Pragma Solidity version. So really what this does for us is it depends on what compiler we want to use, and some compilers have different features as we continue to update as we keep going through the Solidity language. So as we define that, we continue to go onto our contract, and then we define our contract, and then whatever your name is. So for mine, it can just be my first contract. This is always the simplest. I'm just really keeping it simple for simplistic terms, just because it makes it so much easier as we keep going. And then we can input our string here, not strong, string, and then we're going to put that as private. So private name, so only people within the smart contract can continue to pull that information, units, and then private age as well, and then finish that off with a semicolon. So awesome. If you guys aren't really super aware with strings or anything along those lines, so the similarity between JavaScript and Solidity, where they really play, is the implementation of functions and get calls of arrays. So usually when you implement data, as we have here, so contract, my first contract, and we put a string and private name. So that string is just identifying that we have a string of information that can be pulled from a private domain. So usually the cool thing is, one of the really cool things is that Solidity can't pull outside live data. So as we continue to go on in our section, we continue to do more of these coding live streams, or more of these coding videos. We can realize and start implementing oracles so that we can start pulling live data into our smart contracts. And basically, instead of, for example, we can pull the ether price, and the ether price can reflect live from that oracle data we just pulled. And also for, those, I didn't really cover the IDE either. So the IDE we're using, you don't need any external plugins or anything to add on, no crazy downloads or anything like that. You can simply just go to remix.ethereum.ide, and, you can just write in here, this is how us developers test our smart contracts before we really get them on the live net. And, we can find any errors here that, may arise before we really get to that next stage of development. So awesome. So as we continue here, we can write out our function as well, which is super easy. So we're going to set that to set name, so as we're going to pull name, it's going to make sense as we compile. So I know things may not seem too great now, and then we're going to type that new name, type that in right here, and then as well move that over, and we're going to put that with the curly braces as well to 7 here. Let me get this all written over, and then function, we're going to get this over to name, and then we're going to equal that to new name. Awesome. And then curly that off with some curly braces. Alrighty. So awesome. So what we did here, we set our function set to new name, and we included our string values for our new name. So when we do compile our smart contract, it will know that our variable is going into, so we can implement, so it can be John, Susie, Rose, anything along those lines. It just gives us that option for the implementation of our new name when we do get to that. Awesome. Cool. Let's get this down here. Let's go down to paragraph 9. Awesome. Cool. Let's go down to 11. Awesome. So now we're going to implement our function again, just like we have been, and then we're going to also stabilize that to get name. Put our brackets there. We're going to go returns, and then we're going to go to string, continue to write, and then continue to brace off our curly braces. And then we're also going to return name and break it off with some semicolons. Awesome. Hopefully you guys are following along just all right. I'm just making sure I'm not making errors. It also makes it a lot easier, guys, if you like compile along the way. I've got like a really bad habit of like, I'll write and then I'll continue to write. And I'll like either go over to check to make sure my compilers are right or anything along those lines, and then like I'll just like get to the very end and like not compile, and then I'll have a bunch of errors. But don't let it frustrate you at all. It's part of the common game. You're never usually gonna get things right out the bat 100%. That's just usually not how it is. When you're writing a lot of the time, things just take time. When you continue to learn, I still make simple errors all the time, and Solidity is a little bit different in terms of if you come from JavaScript or you come from a whole different language, and it can be a little bit different sometimes. So and then also, guys, as we continue, we're going to continue to write our function. We're going to go to set age. So our set age is going to be, we want to set our age exactly how it sounds. I try to break down code also into like a more simplistic term. Like I don't really try to like get too much into crazy, like technicals, and there are certain things like arrays and functions and call functions and get functions, of course. But like especially when you're writing, you can usually read the code and be like, okay, well, we have our contract, we have our string, and if you understand the definitional terms of like strings and return call function, it makes it a lot easier because it really is kind of like reading a book. That's kind of like what I try to phrase it to. For those who don't know, I kind of have a little bit of like some learning disabilities, like some dyslexia. I didn't do good in my earlier years just because I couldn't read very well sometimes. But I know this is kind of help for me, and I know it's really about making things easier for you guys, and trying to make new things make sense. I know the learning curve can be tough, but things can continue to get easier as you just continue to do it. This is really a hands-on type of thing, and it just gets easier as you keep going. So let me stop rambling and get back on topic and get back to what we were writing. So as we continue to draw down our functions, we start from let's start from line 11. We go from our function get name. We continue to return our string, which also returns our name. So all that's doing right here is, those who are not aware really of what functions do, your function could be a permanent variable, a declaration of internal, external, so if you want it to be pulled privately or not, declaration of pure, viewable, and payable, and also returns for its true value. So whatever that may be for your smart contract, and also built-in functions as well play a pretty significant role in Solidity as well. It really is like kind of like JavaScript backwards. That's kind of the best way I kind of like to put it, because there are just certain things in JavaScript that you can get away with that you really can't in Solidity. It's very sensitive as well in terms of really getting your arrays in order. But as we continue to get age and semicolon, we're basically doing the same thing that we did earlier. This just gives us that the true definition, uint, get that all catered off, and continue, and we're going to return age semicolon. Awesome. Cool. Let's give our stuff a compile. So when we turn to compiler version, so this is pretty much all we have. So 22 lines. I guess 23 lines total if you want to really be precise on it. So when we go to our compiler here, just like we talked about earlier, our compiler is our earlier version for whatever updated Solidity. We're using an older version just for the fact of the newer versions sometimes are not as stable. We're still moving continuously as technology evolves. Things continue to get worked out. So we continue to compile. We do actually have some errors here. Here, let's go back and look and see what we did. So this actually sometimes happens. Error under version. Perfect. Awesome. We did actually get that. So I think what ended up happening was our brackets were just a little bit out of order. See, even I can make mistakes. It's easy as that. So usually with the compiler brackets, you can skip lines in between just to give that break, that time break in between functions and set functions. So our compiler version is green. So when you compile correctly, you'll get that green thumbs up here, or that green check mark for your compiler version. And then we can move on to our deploy mechanism. So where we get to our deploy mechanism, you have your gas limit. And for those who may not really understand or be confused, I'm gonna have some links in the description as well. That's just gonna go over not only just anatomy, but especially for our new people. I get new people all the time, really new people. First really getting to know the Ethereum ecosystem, and then after you get to know the Ethereum ecosystem, and that includes gas fees, values, and so on, ways and all that. Once you really get that out of the way, you can start moving over to the development side, because really this is understanding a whole nother a whole nother language. That's why I say at the beginning, if those, those who understand the coding language, it's going to be a lot easier for them to come out and really understand this. So as we continue to go on, we're going to deploy our smart contract. Let's maybe just do our value of 1. So we have our ether right. So we're going to deploy our smart contract. It was good to go. So this is where all of our functions are really going to come in. So we have our get age, which is right here, and then we have our set age here, which is all the green, set name and get name, and they all appear here. So the cool thing is what we can do here. Usually what you can't do very many else's with many other languages is that, let's say we set our age to 21. We're also going to set our name. We set my name to Trent Manager because that's my name, which is super nice. So let's do this, and then let's do set name down here. So we clicked on we deployed another one of our smart contracts. So let's drag this up so we can really kind of be seen here. Cool. So we set our set age, and if you see here, our string new name, Trent Manager, and if we go up even further, let's see if our age made in here. Oh, our age did not make in here. So if we just do set new age, so we're gonna get down here. Yep, unit age 21. So it is working. So if we clear these out, actually, so let's clear these out, and let's actually clear our entire set. So let's do set age, right? So transaction failed, argument invalid, because error argument invalid big number string value equals value, so that was incorrect. So you do need to type in your new age. It will not return 0. But if we did return 0, and let's say we return say we also, I don't know if we can return set name on 0. We can. That's awesome. So we did so our contract's compiled. So our string name now is new 0. Awesome. Cool. So we know that that's working. So we're getting back the accurate numbers that we are implementing. So also, if we click get age, or we click get name as well, so our get age was first, so we're also going to return 0. So that also is another way to check if it's working. So because we have not implemented a get age number, or we have also not implemented a get name number as well. So we're also going to get that return string back as 0. So really, what this can be useful for, especially smart contract development, and this is kind of just a quick in view. Kind of just a quick in the box look as to what blockchain developers do, what I do slightly for work. It's a little bit more than this. I wanted to keep the basics today, just to really get your minds turning as to understanding the anatomy behind this, and there will be plenty of more sections to come. Definitely before we get out of here, I wanted to kind of hop over to the other remix as well and kind of show a little bit more in-depth contract of the bank. So this is a bank regulator contract. So if we go over here, we did our compile. Let's clear off all this data. This was one, I don't think I used this one as an example, but it's no worries. So let's say we click deploy, right? So we have our new contract here. So as you notice, we have a little bit more options on our bank regulator. So we can do our check value, our set age. So let's say we want to set age at 21, and this is where you can kind of see how smart contracts can be a little bit more used in real world situations. I know it's hard to see real world situations in this because it may not come clear, but here's a good example. We can do our set age at 21, set name Trent V Manager, right? Awesome. We're gonna our withdrawal amount. We can't do any withdrawal. We can, but let's just do this for right now, and let's just say we want to deposit. Say we want to do $2,000. That could work out just well. Awesome. And then let's do the balance call. And we have our get age call. So we have our balance. We did our get call balance. So we are now going to be, our unit is going to be called name. It's going to come back to Trent Manager. Yep, Trent V Manager. And if we set our age, yep, should come back 21. Yep, exactly. And then let's do our deposit as well. Let's see what that comes back as well, and comes back to 2,000. So that is all correct, which is great. So the reason it does break up into individual contracts, and usually, and this is why the IDE comes in handy, is that you can test all this, in real time. And especially when we go back over to our compiler version, especially, I'm sorry, at the beginning of here, I don't think it's under our compiler. I think it's under our web inject, if I'm trying to remember right, wherever our web inject is. Oh, here, it's up at the top. Awesome. So we go to, if we were to go to our inject web 3.0, kind of get a little bit ahead of myself, we can start doing live net transactions. So on web 3.0, really deploying real money and real capital with these smart contracts. So in my earlier video, like I said, there will be links in the description that will cover this further, but I did have another video overview on LinkedIn about there was a more in-depth breakdown of, the smart contract integration. But other than that, guys, I hope this was really helpful today. for you coders or not coders, it doesn't matter. This is kind of just more of a outreach to kind of see, if this is something you want to get into, if this is something, maybe you've been holding out for a while and you want to start, maybe this gave some spark, or just overall, if you're brand new, this gave you, some sort of light to, give you a new skill along those realms. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and any DMs or questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Please like and subscribe and share with friends or family. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.